Thank you, everyone. This is Mabeen Ansari, and as a photographer, I am usually behind the camera. But in this pandemic, we've had to adjust, and mostly resort to Skype or Zoom. And as you know, when in a photo shoot, you sort of go into a whole discourse, behind the scene, behind the cameras, and everything. Uh, so now I think I wanted just to sort of be a glimpse on, sort of what goes on, and as well as have a dialogue with somebody who is very close to me and an inspiration for me, and is a primary reason that I actually got into this field. So this podcast, if you may, I'm actually calling it uh, Talking Portrait. So now please welcome who I'm very proud to call my uncle and very famed photographer, Tapu Javeri. Tapu bhai, thank you so much for joining me on my first podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing? That was actually my first question to you. Yeah.
Let's see. We're trying as hard as possible to keep busy and keep yourself entertained and away from Corona at the same time.
Yeah. So Tapu bhai, I have noted that you have been very active on your social media, sharing a lot of guidelines for photographers, myself included. Uh, do you find yourself digging through archives? Because I see myself going to photographs I took maybe 10, 11 years ago, and actually appreciating some photographs which I did not at the time. Do you find yourself doing that? Like some photographs you've been sharing with from iVideo series and other series that you've been doing.
Yeah. But unfortunately, somewhere in the beginning of the whatever the pandemic, when we were in quarantine, my computer died.
Yeah.
So I did all those little those 10 portrait wale videos. I did them before, and once my computer died, I couldn't do anything. So like everyone, when your Corona started and we were put into quarantine in the beginning, I watched everything on Netflix. Then after that, got bored of that. So then I thought I'll pick up my camera and do whatever I can at home. And somebody said, I had all these questions coming from people online saying, how do you do this, that. So I thought might as well entertain myself also and do something which will be productive. So I started the tutorials, and yes, I've been doing those ever since. And I've not had a computer to work on, so I I've just done whatever. I mean, even the images I take, I put them onto my phone and then I delete them because we couldn't. I have no storage, no space to store anything. So I'm like stuck without a computer. And I've discovered that maybe digital photography is not that good.
I know I can relate to that very much. So yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel as photographers over the years, we become documentarians of our cities and our people?
not- totally, totally. We are the documentarians of this entire whatever this epoch of ours is. We are the ones who are photographing it. We are the ones who are seeing the change in it, and also we are also the only people who are observant enough to everything around us. So, as a photographer, we see with more than just the eyes. We see with an emotion. We see with not just just one snapshot. We take in as much as we can, and that's why we are the people who are going to be recording the history for future.
Yeah. A lot of your photographs document a lot of history, and this is particularly a show that I'm very appealed by, after the whole entire music industry photo shoot there. Yeah.
uh,
So what was the
uh,
story behind it?
okay, the story behind this was that Herald magazine was doing I don't know, they were doing some kind of article where they were interviewing all the musicians of the time. All right, so they gave me this job saying, Chapu, you're the only person who can bring all of them together. I said, impossible. I said, I cannot bring every one of them ever together, okay, because it'll never happen. एक तो egos हैं, दूसरा है सबके timelines हैं, ये वो. So I said, I'll find, like Annie Leibovitz does, टुकड़ों में करती हैं, चार लोगों यहाँ कर लिया, चार लोगों को वहाँ कर लिया, and I join them all together. So the picture you're seeing here is actually the reject picture, okay?
Acha.
Because this is the picture which I put in my computer as like, what if they all were together? So I just randomly throw them all together. But it was a really interesting assignment. So what I did was I tried to get three people at some time. Okay,
Acha.
so I'll give you a little anecdote of one of them. So, okay, so in my studio, I got Ali Azmat and Fakir and Harun together. So
Acha.
Awaz and what was the one liner of Junoon. Okay, and so I thought, it'd be nice, all three of them would stand together. So अब एक बोले कि अली तो बीच में खड़ा हो गया, अली is a simple person. Okay, then
Yes.
एक दूसरे हारून और फाकिर दोनों साइड पे खड़े हुए हैं. फिर हारून बोले, no, this is not my good side, I want to be on that side. And that one saying, no, that's not my good side, I want to remain on this side. And Ali's like in the middle, and Ali first went on one side, then he said, no, I don't want to be in the middle, I want to stand this way. So ये फड्डे इतने हो रहे थे. In the end, Ali just stood up and said, no wonder your band broke up. Anyway, so I don't know. I just got as many of them as together as I could. At one point, I went to Lahore and my friend's house, Amar Bilal's house, and he has a really white wall space, and his drawing room was very, very white. So I just had everyone come there. Even if दो आ गए तो सही है, एक आ गया फर्क नहीं पड़ता. And just they kept on coming, having cups of tea and taking photographs of all these people. But it was that's the way it was together.
But do you think that in the future we would see the music industry coming together to sort of do the photo shoots again or something?
Well, the music industry right now everything's going through a flux. Okay, because you have, I mean, if I as of just maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago, say, nobody had released any movie, any song, anything. The whole world over, I'm talking about. And now I think they realize that that if they don't release their stuff, they're going to be missing out in every manner. So you have even Lady Gaga now releasing an album in Corona time. Obviously, the only way they can make money is now on social media and through YouTube and all. So I guess they're going to get paid on hits. So this was the way they're going to make money. So I think, if anything, the Pakistan music industry should now start making songs, new music, and putting it online, because we've had the concerts out. So, पहले तो musicians only made money through concerts because albums are pirated in our country. Most of the stuff it doesn't give them any revenue. So concerts used to make them loads of money. But the only way now they're going to be able to make money is now to make a song which is popular enough that they'll get hits through YouTube and then get some money from that. But I still don't think any one of these people have really, I don't know, put themselves out there. In fact, I would have hoped that while social media was taking over in Corona time, that some of our musicians would get out, make songs about Corona, about staying home, But I'm sorry, they've been really lazy, or they're all sitting and waiting for the next Coke studio or Nescafe basement.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's basically what seems to be the problem.
You've got street photographers in Karachi, and then you've got like mostly wedding photographers in Islamabad, then you've got mostly classical photographers in Lahore who do mostly, landscapes or something. I used to have this sort of idea that each city has its own category now, with Balochistan, uh, Gilgit Baltistan are sort of coming up with their own. So, do you think we sort of need some sort of a guide or a way forward to, I don't know, protect photographers or make photography more established in Pakistan?
Well, it definitely would have been amazing to have a sort of a all Pakistan conference where you would get all these photographers together. Maybe something like LLF, okay, something like LLF, which was based only on photography. If we could have had something like that, where you got photographers from Lahore, Islamabad, Karachi, Balochistan, wherever, and they came together and shared ideas. Then that would make people make photography more accessible to the public. One, make all the people who are interested into photography, make them aware of what there is around them, and also to highlight the amazing work which we all are doing. I do agree with you when I see, if so many times when Western photographers come to me and I meet them, and I'm sort of connected to all these, these international agencies. So when these photographers come here, I meet with them and usually help them, walk around with them, give them guidelines, or tell them places they should go and visit. And when they come from Karachi, when they go to Lahore, okay, I don't seem to have anybody I can send them to. That's what I find, that in Lahore everyone is obsessed with fashion. And with fashion photography, fine, it's fabulous, you earn money, but there is more to photography than just making money, and also definitely more than fashion. So all these international photographers, when I send them to Lahore, there's practically nobody there which I can, say, if you want to learn street photography, meet this person and walk around with them. Other than Farah Mehboob, who's also a Karachiite, who's gone there. Okay. In Islamabad, whenever they go, I definitely mention you. So I know that in Islamabad that is covered. But in Lahore, I find that is really lacking. And I agree with you. There are too many shadi photographers also, but I guess there's two ways of looking at it. Is Do you get into photography to earn money, or do you get in photography because you have art inside of you and it's bursting out and you have to do something with it? So if the people want to make the money, then yes, then they're going to shadi, because that's the biggest money earner in on this photography plane.
Tapu bhai, I wanted to also know about your relationship with the Bit Shastra. I've seen a lot of your photographs on it very regularly. You've been a regular visitor of it over time.
Well, Bitsha is one of my Bitsha and Sevan have been all my kind of go-to places to either get back into photography, or to teach someone, or just to enjoy. So for a lot of times, whenever Bitsha is, I go to Bitsha to photograph, and the scenarios don't really change that much in those spaces, but the environment sort of evolves and becomes sort of impregnated with this really rich music culture, which is gorgeous to feel. What I do a lot of times is, if I have students or a friend over, or somebody who's interested in music, I sort of drive up to Bitsha with a sleeping bag, and in the main courtyard, take my camera, sleeping bag, lie down there while everybody is there in the courtyard, photograph all night, and then leave in the morning. And I've even taken Ali Azmat to one of those where he was said, how do you do this all the time? I said, come. So we drove up and spent the night in the courtyard, and heard music all night, and had tons of chai, and had a wonderful evening. So that with Bitsha and Sevan, mashallah, I have good friends in Sevan who are, who have sort of give you access to places where other people can't go, which is why I go there and photograph. And also that spiritual Sufi-esque environment makes you feel nice, and so it's a great place to photograph.
So, at what point do you sort of divide the line between, being paid for it or continuing your portfolio? Because in social media, I think it sort of, I think, gives an illusion to a lot of people, or a feeling to a lot of people, that you have already come to a point where you should be making, a lot of money at one point in your career. Now, no one to define at what stage in the career you are to be able to sort of earn this or that, but where do you think the line is, between that?
It's really simple. When you start off as a young photographer, you have to create your archive. You have to create your portfolio. Okay. So you take on jobs which will give you access to better jobs and more jobs, one. Okay, and you take those, definitely. I remember when I started, you know I would do shoots for free, and in fact right now I still do shoots for free. But even then, my one answer to everybody would be, if you want to earn money, don't be friends with your clients. That's the first thing. uh, but you have to, as a new photographer, as a young person, figure out how much leeway you want to give.
Yeah.
So as a, if you're getting amazing jobs and they're not willing to pay you, but if they are amazing jobs, definitely do them. I mean, I know I have done, when as a young photographer, I've done so many jobs where they told me, okay, we're taking you falana country and you're going to be photographing there, but we can't pay you, but we'll pay everything else. I was okay, fine. As long as I was getting a trip out of it, I was getting, what do I call it, I would was willing to do the photograph for free, as long as I was getting access to something more, okay, for my in my portfolio and my archives, which is what they should do. I mean, if you get a chance to fly to China to photograph some president or something, a prime minister, and they're not paying you, you're a fool to say no because I'm not getting paid. Okay,
Mm.
so
That is
the whole
true.
thing is, you have to find out where the balance is. But if if you have some you know designer saying, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay you. I'll give you a joda," then think twice. Okay,
Okay.
but it depends on what your portfolio is and how you want to build your portfolio. Yeah.
Do you think photojournalism is something that still needs to become mainstream? I mean, you got the category of photographers like uh, Hatib Amjad, Khalid Jamil. Uh,
Yeah.
you got to say, I think, do you think that still needs to sort of become more mainstream? Are people really pursuing that now, or?
Well, with a mobile phone in almost every person's hand, they have a camera. Everyone in the world has a camera. So you have people, like this video of George Floyd. Okay, these videos exist only because you have people who are randomly becoming photojournalists.
Hmm,
Okay, the job of being a photojournalist, as somebody who actually goes out and does, only his job is to take pictures of the news. Okay, that's a dying art now. And I mean, I don't want it to die. I think people really should invest in photojournalists, but it is dying out because there are so many people with access to phones and cameras, which are taking away money from people who would be doing that job if they were in that location or in that spot when the action or the news happened. So that is going. Apart from that, what's making photojournalism really die out is that newsprint is disappearing. So news media is now becoming immediate. It's becoming more less visual. I mean, visual as in less photographic and more video. So that storytelling is more now a video than just a photograph. So that's going to be, not now, but maybe in 10 years we're going to be seeing photography sort of peter out, and videography going, taking over. Already it's taking over.
yeah.
So that's something we all have to contend with and see where it goes.
Last time I met you was actually at a Junoon concert. I finally had the privilege of
Yeah,
photographing with you side by side. But I will never forget the image that I took of you right at the beginning when the smoke
I
machine went
I
off.
love
बहुत
that.
मजा आया, बहुत मजा आया. I mean, it's like, I mean, for me, it's a funny photograph as well as very artistic. It's like the Undertaker coming off, but at the same time, you can actually see somebody's hand struggling with, the smoke machine or something. क्या हुआ क्या था?
I remember there was a great photograph, and there was so much smoke on that.
Before I let you go, um, did you have any, you know, I would not say message for any photographers or budding photographers, but keeping in mind it's, pandemic, keeping in mind how the circumstances have changed, what would you say is now the way forward for us, both as amateurs and professionals?
Well, as for street photography, I would say if you're a street photographer, you have to be careful. You have to do all the protocols. You have to have, whatever, masks on if you go into any area, any space. Make sure that you're not, you try to stay away 6 feet. Well, anyway, as photographers, we're always 6 feet away from people because otherwise we're taking
Yeah.
macro. That being said, if you're doing now fashion shoots, I know have started because I've seen all this. Everyone's taking out the Eid collections, and you can see that obviously they're being photographed. So that started. I think the people who are going to be worst hit are the movies because cinemas cannot be and should not be opened because they have closed space, and people who are making movies usually have about a team of maybe 50 or 100 people together, and that's another scary thing. I mean, Nidas for his entire team has got, what am I call it, corona. So Nida Yasir, sorry. And so you've seen that these things are sort of scary, and until we don't find that cure, hopefully that cure will come soon. You have to stay with all these SOPs. What I would say to photographers who are indoors and have nothing else to do, please, YouTube is insanely amazing. I have discovered that only now, that it can teach you how to do anything. There are a million tutorials on it, and I know that a lot of these things are now free. All the master classes, they're free to learn because of the quarantine. So I think knowledge is the best way to go forward.
Thank you, Tapu Bhai. As they say, once a teacher, always a teacher, and a lot of advice which you just imparted. I learned from this. So,
Yeah.
Tapu Bhai, thank you for being part of this, podcast, and thank you for being so patient.